Hey, everybody. Welcome to Impossible Coin, where this week Rocky and I are going to need to struggle through and find a way to shoulder the load, because it is entirely possible that right now, somewhere in Ohio, drunk in a hot tub is our co-host. Rocky, you gonna be able to make it through? Like, do you wish you were drunk in a hot tub right now?
Well, I mean, it's no longer Memorial Day weekend, so I don't want to overdo it.
Okay.
But also, I'm mostly worried about having to talk to myself about anime this week.
How about this?
Mm-hmm.
This is an opportunity to try and evangelize anime without judgment. I feel like, you know, the anime recommendations I get on this show come in two varieties. Brian, you should watch the shit that everybody's been watching. Or, here's a trap recommendation which we don't think you're actually going to like, and it has horse girls. And, you know, those are the varieties of recos I've gotten. You should watch the, what's it called? Like, Boko.
Boku no Hero?
That's the one. You should watch that because everybody watches it.
Well, no, you should watch it because it's fantastic. Who cares if everybody's watching it? Everybody's watching it because, like, some people have some tastes, and it's pretty popular, and there's no other shonen going on.
Okay. Think of it as an opportunity to evangelize in a lower intensity environment.
Okay, well, Brian, while I always want you to be a part of the anime zeitgeist, I understand that not a lot of it resonates with you, but one thing I should suggest, if you were a fan of Gainax's micro masterpiece Fooly Cooly, Fooly Cooly Progressive, which is the next chapter in the story, is airing on Adult Swim on the night of recording, midnight on Saturday, June 2nd.
Huh.
So that should be cool if you want to check that out.
Okay. And once again, I guess I need to state this for the record for both our listeners and Mr. Hardy. It's not that I am put off by anime at all. It's just there is a lot of it. There's a lot of anime, and it's really hard. Like, the anime internet is a terrifying place. Because when you journey into the anime internet, you're like, anime internet, what should I watch? The response is generally everything. And I'm like, God damn it, anime internet, like, this is just not how TV works for most people, and it's certainly not how TV works for people who have to do shit like hold down a job. Like, I can't literally watch all the fucking anime. That is a monumental pile of anime, but, like, it's a lot of the critical conversation around, like, picking and choosing shows for anime is different than, like, say, other television critical websites, where they'll be like, yeah, you should watch this show if you like this show, because if TV internet worked like anime internet, they'd be like, you should watch all the shows, we don't care, just watch them all. I'm like, man, who ain't got time for that? Ain't nobody got time for that. So, I mean, that's something I probably would be interested in. Just more resources for, like, picking and choosing anime shows to watch, because, like, it's definitely very much a thing where it's rough shakes if you just want to pick and choose. Like, I will always be grateful for that recommendation I got, some years ago for Food Wars, because that show is fucking awesome.
Food Wars is cool.
Yeah, it's like, they're like, you'd like Food Wars. Because it takes the old, like, Iron Chef formula and turns it into shonen, and it also has some interesting stuff to say, like using food metaphors as an expression of adolescence, and I'm like, okay, I like all of these things. So, yeah. Carefully curated, bespoke anime recommendations welcome, listeners.
So, guys, if you want to inundate Brian with the anime that you feel like you should watch, hit him up on the Facebooks. Make your suggestions either as wild or as curated as possible. Yes, they should,
but these recommendations should not be watch everything. But you know what this is also right now, Rocky? It is currently a safe space for Brian to talk about wrestling. Because our co-host, so far, when I've brought it up, does the following. God. Something like that. So, I just want to take a moment to talk about King Ricochet. Jesus Christ, that guy.
Okay.
Oh my
What's going on
goodness.
with King Ricochet?
Have you seen Ricochet at work, man?
No, I haven't.
He is the LeBron of wrestling, and it is fucking ridiculous to watch that guy work. I would say that if you're a person out there who is kind of curious, or maybe you're somebody who hasn't watched wrestling in years, and you're like, man, I don't even know if the work is any good these days, then you don't have to watch anything except NXT, which is the WWE's developmental league. Just watch that, because that's where Ricochet is right now. He's not going to be there long, because they need to get his ass on Raw as quickly as possible. But Jesus Christ, that guy. He's like 170 pounds, maybe 180. Mm-hmm. Watched him suplex a guy who weighs like close to 300 pounds last night.
Sick!
Yeah. He's doing shit like landing frog splashes while doing 3 full turns in the air before landing the frog splash.
I'm expecting gifs of these, by the way.
Oh my god, like, I'm how did you know that what I was currently doing right now is looking for fucking Ricochet gifs? Because he is probably the most gif-worthy wrestler at work. Like, it is amazing that, like, he does shit in, like, the space of a few seconds that, like, the entire young internet is like, I need to turn this into a gif right now. Which is really cool. His in-ring personality is also pretty fantastic. Uh-huh. And he has probably one of the best rivalries going in, like, wrestling history, which is against another guy who's also fantastic, who calls himself the Velveteen Dream.
Okay.
Velveteen Dream is also a fantastic wrestler who's going for this pansexual thing, which kind of has, like, a vibe like early Prince.
Okay.
Which I'm also really surprised that, like, wrestling fans are all like, I'm here for Velveteen Dream. Because I would expect, like, a whole bunch of guys, and this is also me being a jerk, this is me acting like some kind of, like, coastal elite jagoff. And you're like, I'm surprised that, like, guys who live in Nebraska are like, I'm here for Velveteen Dream. But people are here for Velveteen Dream, and that's good business.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah. Wait, I may have found... Oh, yeah, here we go. Like, I'm going to provide you a GIF. I will even put this on our Facebook, just so that way our audience can know what the fuck I'm talking about. But this is Ricochet not even in a goddamn fight. This is just like him and Dream, you know, working on their rivalry, you know, talking shit at each other because they're about to have a fight at NXT TakeOver Chicago. And it's just Ricochet coming out of the ring to throw shade at Dream. And it's just like, he can't just walk out of the ring. That's how he exits the ring.
Hey!
Yeah.
That's actually hype.
Yep. That guy is terrific. Like,
yeah, dude, that's like 100% anime.
Yeah. No, he is amazing. So I've been doing that. I've been watching some Ricochet fights because he's ridiculous and he's totally worth it. Guess I've also been playing some Hearthstone.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, the meta is continuing to settle after the recent nerf. Mm-hmm. You know, as people trying to find new deck archetypes that, like, deal with the way the cards have changed. The one which seems to really be taking hold of the meta, which I have found to be reliable, mm-hmm. is this Control Warlock deck that only uses even-numbered cards, so that way it can run Gen Greymane, which means that the hero power only costs 1. Which means that you could start drawing extra cards as early as turn 1.
Alright.
Yep. Which means that you're doing shit like playing Mountain Giants on turn 3. Which makes you a super jerk. It also means that you could do stuff like drop Twilight Drakes, which have stat lines like 4-10 on turn 4.
Alright.
Yeah. And so, like, it's definitely, like, I think probably the most popular deck right now. in the control meta, I have definitely had a lot of mirror matches with that deck archetype. Where I go into the match and because there's this little animation that plays whenever you're either playing like an even deck or an odd deck. Mm-hmm. So I'll get in there and it'll do the animation for Gin Greymane, and then it does the animation again for the opponent, and I'm like, yep, all right, I see this is where we are. This is who we are. Let's do this. And the other deck I've been enjoying because it kind of fucks specifically with this even warlock deck archetype. Mm-hmm. Is a mill druid, because these even warlocks are drawing their deck so quickly that when you play a deck which forces your opponent to draw even more, you can definitely start to do stuff like cause card discard and start getting them to take fatigue damage pretty damn quickly. So that is a good jerk deck.
Wait. Walk back for a second.
Okay.
Can you explain fatigue damage in the context of Hearthstone?
I absolutely can. All right. So in Hearthstone, once you have run out of cards in your deck, and there are no more cards in your deck, the rules of Hearthstone say that you will attempt to draw a card at the beginning of your turn. If there is no card to draw, you will take 1 point of damage. The next turn that you attempt to draw and there's nothing there, you will take 2 points of damage. The next turn you attempt to draw and there's nothing there, you will take 3 points of damage. So there's kind of like a running clock once you run out of cards for how long you can last. So you've got 1 or 2 things that you can either do to resolve the situation as the person who's run out of cards. 1, you can try and put your opponent away. Or 2, you can try to find a way to put cards back into your deck. So that way there is something there to draw, which would reset the fatigue meter. There are ways to do both. There is currently a deck which is kind of a mill meme deck where you cause yourself to draw down. And then once you've drawn yourself empty, you play a card called King Togwaggle. And what King Togwaggle does is you swap decks with your opponent. And so if you have no deck, what he gets from you is nothing, and you get his deck. King Togwaggle gives your opponent a 5-mana spell in order to get their deck back. But if you force their hand to be 10 cards big, when you play Togwaggle, then they don't have space in their hand to hold the spell to get their deck back, which means that they don't get that card. So then you're like, congratulations, all you have is what's in your hand, and you're completely fucked, and I have whatever's in your deck. Congratulations.
Alright.
Yeah, so Togwaggle is definitely a meme deck. It is this memes. It doesn't feel like a meta defining card in any kind of way. Mm-hmm. But it is a fun thing to slot into a mill deck. The mill deck I've been running doesn't run Togwaggle, because Togwaggle, while fun, is not entirely reliable, and it's not fun enough that I'm not going to try and I'm not going to try and build a Togwaggle deck just to Togwaggle. Mm-hmm. But there's certainly shit goofy enough these days that I will build decks around it because it is that goofy. There's a card these days that I really enjoy called Archbishop Benedictus, who just adds a copy of your opponent's deck to your deck. So it's congrats, whatever you had, I have it. Which is good to just put into a slow deck that controls the board, and then play it once you're about halfway through your deck. So then you just have a whole bunch of gas for whatever your opponent is coming at you with. You're okay, whatever you got, I have enough left to deal with, and you're just going to run out of cards, and I don't know, I'm just going to watch you die. So what's up? So Hearthstone's still good. Still playing too much Hearthstone. But Rocky, I believe that you and I finished a game where we escaped from prison and then did a whole bunch of other stuff.
Man, escaping from prison, that's old news, dude. That's 2000 and late. We're flying to Mexico to shoot dudes now, man. We're doing cooperative escapes from hospitals and competitive escapes from the law.
So, yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this game, man, because like I have tons. Obviously, Tegan has tons of thoughts. You've now had a chance to go entirely through this experience. What are your feels?
Man, it was cool. I mean, now I understand why you hate Vincent, because, like, you know, he's a trash person and he deserves to die in a fire. But, Leo was cool. I liked the mix of competitive and cooperative throughout the game. I thought that was very well done.
Now, would you say that it's a mix throughout the game because the game gives you all those little opportunities for, like, casual, like, little PvP mini games that just kind of crop up throughout the game? Because it doesn't seriously become PvP until, like, I think, 20 minutes before the end of the game?
Yeah. Or, like, the end of the game. But, yeah. I do feel like the shooting is lacking, but honestly, unless they wholesale took someone else's engine, it wasn't going to be anything spectacular, so I'm not faulting them for that.
I agree. Like, I kind of, because the game is so pretty, I kept on just expecting the shooting to be Uncharted 4's shooting.
Yeah.
But it is not.
No. Not even close.
Yeah.
I do like the decision that they made to have the shooting sections be, like, crazy easy. It would be interesting to have, like, increased difficulty that you could add to it, you know, like a quote-unquote legendary mode. But I really like how they kept the sequences accessible to keep the game cinematic.
It's funny. I think maybe you were still expecting there to be some business going on with, like, the shooting at one point. Because when we were charging into Harvey's compound, there was one point where we were near the pool, and I just went charging in like some kind of asshole. And you're like, what are you doing? And I think that maybe it hadn't yet clicked for you that, like, when you're just shooting the AI goons, it's no big. It's no big. Like, just get some proximity on them and just pull the trigger till it goes click. And that's what you must do. They're not going to have any kind of particularly graceful or intelligent AI where they know how to deal with you. They are there to move, keep it spicy for a few moments, and then die. Yeah. And I get that because, like, I understand that, like, their central goal is to, like, build something which is, like, very narrative focused, like a Telltale game or like Until Dawn or like a David Cage game. But I feel like what Joseph Fares and his team did, like, absolutely blows what, you know, David Cage does, like, out of the fucking water. Like, it's a much better story. It's much better acting. Love the work on the facial capture. Like, obviously we're into spoiler territory here with some of the stuff we're talking about, but I feel like I don't see a lot of, like, really good, emotionally resonant death animations in games. And I'm talking very specifically about the animation, like, oh, that dude is fucking dying, and it is sad. But I feel like the death animation at the end of A Way Out is some of the best I've ever seen, if not the best I've ever seen. And I'm very specifically thinking about, like, if you do the Leo dies ending, the Leo death animation is, like, just pitch perfect, absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait to see what that dude does next.
In regards to the comparison to David Cage, a lot of his work is more narrative with, like, game stuff on top of it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And A Way Out is definitely a lot closer, ironically, to the Uncharted games.
Yeah.
But the difference is that in Uncharted, because the whole thing is meant to be cinematic, but it also asks you to do things. It asks you to play the game.
Right.
as with most games, like, you aren't necessarily proficient. It's more that if you lose, and you have to redo the scene. But that act of needing to play the game to advance in the story takes you out of the story, unless you're proficient. But A Way Out doesn't ask you to be proficient because they want you to do the things and have them still feel cinematic, even at the risk of low difficulty. But I think the bigger thing is that A Way Out is such a condensed experience that they're much more concerned about flow than they are about, like, gamification, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail right on the head. Like, I think the pacing in the game is just fantastic. Like, at no point in the game are you ever doing anything, I think, long enough to get tired of it. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm thinking specifically about, like, 3 different sequences in the game. One is just the gathering the stuff and doing the nuts and bolts things to get out of the prison. I think that you actually get out of the prison at, like, just the perfect moment. At the moment where you're like, okay, I think I've had enough of getting out of prison. You are then out of prison. The sequence where Vincent and Leo have the pickup truck and are engaged in, like, a high-speed chase with the cops, I think that is exactly long enough. Like, it feels like some uncharted shit. And I think that that's a really good testament to the design of that sequence, because I think that regardless of which half of that equation a player is doing, it still feels like some uncharted ass bullshit. Whether you're in the bed of the pickup truck shooting or driving, it still feels, very cinematic, very high energy.
Oh, that's actually one thing that I really applaud this game for. There is no, like, feeling of being player 2.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what it is. That the 2 characters that you're playing, Vincent and Leo, regardless of how you actually decide to do things, there's never really a sense that one character is secondary to the other in any way. Like, not narratively, not mechanically.
Yeah, no, neither one of those guys is the other guy.
Yeah.
Which takes a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it's called Two Brothers. No, I'm kidding. It's not called Two Brothers.
So, like, I just absolutely cannot wait to see what he does next. Like, there are so few things that make me, like, super curious about EA's future. Like, there's obviously the fact that they're the tip of the spear with the whole microtransaction thing, and seeing how they react to that from a business standpoint is fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. But, like, if EA just keeps throwing money at Hazelight Studios, that will just make me happy from, like, the perspective of somebody who plays and enjoys video games. Like, that is a good thing. They're doing something interesting. They're doing something which a lot of other studios aren't necessarily pursuing right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that, like, the comparisons to Uncharted are apt. I feel like it lives somewhere between Until Dawn and Uncharted, and that's good company to be in. It feels like a first-party Sony game.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is really important about this in particular, or this game in particular, is that it's a very good example of a game that was designed to be co-op from the ground up. Because there are way too many games that have co-op as, like, an afterthought. I can't tell you how many times I played through a Halo game, story mode with a friend, and I realized that, like, they're talking to both of us, and we're both...
You mean the Master Chef?
Yeah, let's just call him Master Chief. But yeah, like, they talk to both of us, and somehow we're both Master Chief, and it just takes you out of it. It's just like, wait, no, we can't both be Master Chief. That doesn't make any sense. There's only one guy in all the cutscenes. And I feel like even in some of Nintendo's games, actually, Odyssey is a good example, but I think the more egregious example is the Super Mario Galaxy games, where you could just, like, have player 2 work as a Wiimote and they collect, like, the little star bits for you or whatever.
Yep.
And, like, the Joseph Fares started like at the very beginning. I'm not sure if he started with the story, but it felt like he was deciding, I want this game to be a game where two people play two characters the whole time and no one takes a back seat. Like, they're both sitting in the front seat. They can take turns driving. It's like a very, very good road trip, I think, is how the game plays out. And with studios like Hayes Media or also like Thunderdogs, because that came back to my head, is that there's some design ideas that can actually be built from the ground up to fill niches that have been missing for a very long time. I hope this game gets a lot of people thinking about co-op and multiplayer in a way that's meaningful and not an afterthought. And I hope to see more games like that. Because games are, like, I think the best part of playing games are a lot of times playing them with other people.
Yep.
And if those experiences are validating for every player that's involved, that's obviously better than a game that tacks on multiplayer as an afterthought.
I absolutely agree. And like at this point, I have now played through this game from start to finish twice. Mm-hmm. And it definitely did not feel old or boring or a chore at all the second time. Like, you know, Tegan and I definitely wanted you to get through this thing, but like, I did not feel like I was taking one for the team to make sure that you would get it, you know, get through this game. Like, I was happy to do all this stuff again. Discovering little moments or notes in the environment or in the writing, that hadn't been discovered on my first path through. Like, there's a moment at the top of the construction site where, you as Leo used the nail gun, mm-hmm. Which came as a total surprise to me, because I did not realize that you were going to meet with any kind of success with that. I was like, whoa, like, that worked. So, like, the realization that, like, a different tool would work for each character in that situation. Like, I had just assumed that I needed to find the wallet. Mm-hmm. Because that was what happened on, you know, my first pass through the game. And so, like, I have to wonder how many of those little moments exist throughout the game. Mm-hmm. Like, there is a sequence in the game which I am so curious about wanting to continue to explore and fuck around with, which is the convenience store robbery. Because it feels like there's lots of ways that could possibly go. Mm-hmm. So, like, I want to keep on fucking around in the convenience store robbery. See how many variations exist, because it definitely feels like there's more. And, like, discovered more mini games. Also, I took a look at the trophy list. Like, there are definitely trophies I still have not unlocked for this thing, mm-hmm. which are ones which are largely rewards for fully exploring the environment. Like, you know, opening the bird cage in the prison's warden's office is a trophy. Spinning the windmill at the farm is a trophy. So there are secret trophies I have not yet unlocked, which just kind of speak to, like, did you stop and smell the roses? And there are apparently more roses to smell. I'm into it. I'm about it. Rocky.
Yeah.
What are you about, man?
Man, I'm about these fucking wizards, man. I was playing earlier this morning, just before we started, and I actually got through the 3 bosses.
Okay. And
I got to, like, the macro boss, but I was less than half health, and I was definitely fucking around because I didn't know the patterns. And it's cool. Like, it's very bullet hell-like, which is dope. And I almost killed him, actually. But then, like, I got into, like, a really precise lattice that, like, went down, and I had no idea which way to, like, react. So I just got hit by something. Like, I had, like, 6 HP left, and, like, the last hit me for 37. I wasn't going to survive. There was nothing I could do. But it was the first time doing that fight. And it's actually pretty surprisingly easy, like, as long as you're patient. But more often than not, I'm not patient because I want the super meter, and I want to use my super. But I had a really good run this morning. It felt really good. I played some runs last night with a friend. Like, I tried out the co-op.
Mm-hmm.
And the co-op's cool. It obviously takes a little bit of time to get started because both people need to set their loadouts. But they can actually set their loadouts, like, independently. So, like, one person can be switching out their spells while another one's, like, testing out the ones that they already have. One person can swap around with the relics while, like, another person tries to figure out which cloak they want to wear. I now have a handful of cloaks. I know what they do. They, like, increase your base stats in various ways. And they all have cool names like Awe and Rule and Shift. And the colors are bright and, like, interesting. And I have, like, a shit ton of gems. Wait, no, never mind. I blew all my gems this morning. But, like, I played enough, like, duo runs last night that I had over, like, 600 gems this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought, like, 3 new robes and, like, 8 new spells and, like, 12 new relics. And now I'm stacked, dude. Like, I have a strong handle on the combo that I like. I know what kind of relics to prioritize when I'm going through my runs, or what kind of spells that I want depending on what stage I'm in. Like, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable with the game. I'm looking forward to that first clear, and then maybe I'll try, like, speed running, because I know there's an achievement for, like, sub 25 minutes, and I really want it. I want it so bad. Yeah, man, Wizard Legends is dope. I'm still having a great time. And, I don't know, man. I don't know. I kind of want online co-op, but it's a 2-man team. I can't be mad at them.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Because I feel like this is a game that I might have already bought if there was online co-op.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if, like, unless you are specifically designing for, local co-op or competitive play only as part of the experience, like, you are designing for the ground up from it. It is core to the experience. Is not including online play acceptable in the multiplayer in the modern age? Like, how many people know dudes that they can just call up and be like, yo, let's do this thing? Like, I do not have a great many dudes I could call up and just be like, do you want to come over and Wizard of Legend right now? And I think that's probably the experience for a lot of people, because a lot of people's social circles, especially for game playing, aren't necessarily local to them.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite multiplayer games last year was Nidhogg 2, which is a fantastic local experience, but the netcode of that game is complete trash. Like, I remember trying to go online to play, and I would even find matches, but it was like the game was trying to barf on both of us. And I'm like, oh my fucking god. Like, can you imagine if some AAA game went out there with this kind of netcode? They would be getting roasted on every gaming website out there. But it seems like it's entirely acceptable in the indie game space to publish a game where online multiplayer makes sense and just not have it, or have the online multiplayer be so bad as to be unusable.
Well, okay, hold on. Just 1 second. I understand it's frustrating to not have online play, but I know that a lot of games like this, especially that are fast and, like, twitchy, like, are pretty resource intensive when you try to transmit that information online. And there are AAA games that exist with, like, bad netcode, like, which is basically most fighting games, if not all of them, I think.
Right, but when a fighting game has bad netcode, the FGC is going to roast it and make sure that is known publicly.
Yeah, but it doesn't change anything, because, like, all fighters have pretty much every fighter has bad netcode. The only one that I can honestly think of is the Street Fighter 3 remake on Xbox 360. Shoutouts to Iron Galaxy. But, like, I mean, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, each of the Marvels, literally every anime fighter. Skullgirls even had a surprisingly good netcode, but it wasn't that good. Like, it still felt weird to play online because that kind of lag is, because I guess the difference in time is so noticeable. And I feel like to the point that it's actually different in shooters, because of like the lack of proximity to your opponent, because you're not counting frames to like land your shot. Not even in games like CS:GO.
Well, I mean, it's going to depend on whether or not the shooter is using hit scan weapons or you're firing an actual projectile. Like the online play for that Doom revival that came out in 2016 was pretty garbage for the online multiplayer because they were not using hit scan weapons, which means that people should have been able to do what they were able to do in Doom in like 1995, which is do incredibly cool stuff and dodge around a bullet. But they weren't able to do that effectively in the 2016 Doom. Because, like, yeah, the bullets were still real objects, which means that they could be dodged around, but the game was having to do shit like check frames for bullet location and failing.
Right.
So it or like a Master Chief Collection spent like 2 years, like just absolutely on the rack with like every gaming publication because it's like, holy Jesus, how do you guys fuck up the netcode for remakes of Halo games? Like, it's not even like you're making a new Halo game. You're like, we've re-released Halo 3, and now the netcode is bad this time. How do you have worse netcode for Halo 3? But I guess that's what I'm saying is that like when a big fighter or when a big shooter has bad netcode, they get taken to court for it, man. I mean, not necessarily literally taken to court, but like,
yeah, like taking a task.
It's people's court, you know, like on this side, pretty much all gamers. On this side, Microsoft is like, I don't know, man. We figured it was the Halo. So like, I don't know why indies just get a free pass for this shit. And like I am a huge independent game development advocate. I think that independent game development is a good thing, but like it's weird to see this stuff that people will just in what situations people excuse stuff. Like for example, like Bethesda games could always ship as the most broken, busted ass, buggy like train wreck, and people will just go like, "Oh, that's just Bethesda jank." And you're like, are you kidding me? Like, because, like, if some other publisher ships something as buggy and as broken as this, you'd be fucking writing letters to your congressman. And Bethesda puts out something buggy and broken. It's like, why is there 900 of this one NPC all in a room with all have brooms up their butts? And it's like, oh, it's just Bethesda jank. Like, no, it's not just Bethesda jank. Like, it just, they won't fix their fucking engine. And it's just like, it seems to be one of those things that like independent developers are allowed to have incredibly bad or missing netcode. I don't get it, Rocky.
Well, man, it's like, netcode's fucking hard. I can't think of anyone really that I trust with like netcode. I mean, Iron Galaxy did it, I think, exactly once. And I'm not sure of anyone else that has provided a netcode that is like universally accepted. Outside of like shooters for like shooter reasons because they're not counting frames and like tracking objects. Like I don't know, man. I just think the tech doesn't exist yet, which is weird because we've been doing it for a while, but like we don't quite get it yet.
I mean, I guess there does have to be a reason that Riot wants to build their own separate internet for League of Legends.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, that makes sense to me. As long as they could, like, if everyone in the world had server ping like they do have in SEA, the entire world's meta would look different. It just would. You can walk into a net cafe in fucking Beijing and play a game of League with, like, sub 50 ping and, like, pay what? The equivalent of $10 for each hour you play? While, like, out in the real world in like North America, you have to pay like $100 a month for internet just so that you can get something that's like sub 60 without a wired connection. Like it's ridiculous, man. Like I don't get it. I feel like that's the biggest thing because I know, like, you know, SEA basically takes it every year. Like, it basically changes hands between SK Telecom and, like, Samsung, which are, like, Chinese and Korean teams, respectively. And Europe doesn't have a chance. Like, they'll get past, like, their group phase, and then they'll get blown up by the Chinese teams. And, like, NA, I don't think an NA team has actually made it out of groups ever. No. Cloud9 made it once, I think. Someone will correct me on this. I know it. But, like, I think it's just a difference in, like, internet. And if, like, Riot can, like, have their own internet, if they can make great ping universal for, like, their own game, that'd be great for not only, like, the player base, but also esports.
Well, you know, I'm really curious as to, you know, how that's going. Because, Riot bought Radiant Entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty clear that the reason that they bought Radiant Entertainment was because of the people who worked there. They wanted those folks. You know, the guys who owned Radiant Entertainment were the guys who created the GGPO standard.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, all right, you want to bring on the guys who created GGPO to Riot. They are still there. You know, none of those guys have left Riot, because a lot of times when, you know, companies buy smaller companies because of, you know, tech, then like the people who happen to be attached to that tech and be attached to those patents will disappear because that's what the company really was interested in. But everybody who is at Radiant is still at Riot, which is, it still fucking boggles my mind that Seth Killian works for Riot. But like, it's evident that they bought that company because of the developments that those guys had been making in netcode. So I'm curious to see what happens then, because when I look to like things like next generations of, you know, game consoles, I feel like the major hurdles are no longer graphical, but more like volume and quality of AI and quality multiplayer connectivity. I think that those are going to be the things that will define, you know, upcoming generations. Oh, that and like sick VR porno, but like that's a whole other thing. So like, I don't know, man. Like I didn't want to turn this, like, your whole Wizard of Legend chat into a chance to like bag on like indies, but I guess that's how I landed.
That's how you feel, dude. That's what's in your heart.
Yeah.
So it's okay, man. Like, there's other brighter things going on in the world. Like, I've been playing Pokemon Go, and I'm slightly climbing up the ranks. I got a lot more Pokemon, and because of an announcement we'll discuss later in the show, they released a Pokemon, a Alolan Executor, which I think is a Pokemon that you'd like, Brian. I'm sure you're familiar with Executor. It's a grass psychic type. It looks like a palm tree, and like it's like pineapples are like the heads. And then Alolan Executor is the same thing, but he's got a real long neck. That's just it. Like, the neck is like 10 feet tall. It's super goofy. And its animation in like Pokemon Go is that it'll just flip into the scene, like front flip. You know, kind of like King Ricochet a little bit, if I'm being honest. And so I caught like a whole mess of those. I got like 10 Alolan Executors, and they're pretty good because in addition to, you know, being long-necked, they also get a dragon typing in exchange for like its psychic. So now it's Dragon Grass. So I just have like 10 Dragon Grass type Pokemon that are raid ready. And dude, it's fucking ridiculous. Yes, there it is. That's the one I want to talk about. So I got a handful of those, and Articuno went live the day before recording, but I need like 3 more stamps to get it. So I'm going to raid a bit for today and collect some more stickers, so I'll be ready with my stamps so I can get my Articuno, because that's all I really want, because I missed those on the first pass, and, it breaks my heart.
Right.
But also I'm going to raid at my local college, because I need to get a timed Pokemon that's about to stop being available, Latias, which is a dragon psychic type. Which is actually, okay, so whenever I play Pokemon, for some reason, I always end up getting a Latias and not a Latios. But I always want the Latios because it's blue. And blue's, in the spectrum of my favorite color. And I never get a Latios. I don't think I've ever actually caught a Latios in any Pokemon game ever. So if someone wants to send me a Latios, apropos nothing, that'd be really cool. I'd very much appreciate it. But I'm going to go get a Latios today. I'm going to get some stamps so I can get my Articuno. I'm going to keep farming because there's still, some other Pokemon that I really want to get raid ready, like my Blaziken and, my second shiny Charizard and shit like that. Also, no one I've told about Tegan's shiny Ho-Oh believes me. So we're going to need to get photos of that. It's a thing that we need to do, for research purposes. And I think that's all I really want to say about Pokemon Go before we get into the news.
I see that you have put community leader murder game here.
Sir, it's pronounced Monster Hunter World. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And it's come back in my rotation because some new shit is going on. They have introduced an OG monster to the game. I'm sure you've seen a Teostra. It's a red chimera looking thing.
Right.
But the Teostra is actually the second iteration of a much older monster called the Lunastra, which is like a Teostra, but it's blue and it's bigger. And instead of doing Supernova, which is like a large floating AoE, it does a delayed AoE that fires off in waves. So it's definitely has a different dodge pattern and whatnot. And the flames that it puts around itself, not only burn you for being too close, but you need to actually drink a cool drink just to stop it from burning you by standing next to it. It's pretty intense, man. So I've been fucking with that. And, also it's a blue Teostra type monster. So I get the blue version of that armor set, which is cool. Its skills aren't super great for what I want to do, because I play full offensive. I mean full offense when I fight. I want more damage. I want more crit. I want weakness exploit and shit like that. But it gives me stuff like wide range and tool specialist, which is quote unquote support skills. And I don't need those. More often than not, I solo hunt. And if I need to carry someone, I don't need skills to do it. I just deal more damage and throw out a life powder every once in a while. So, I'm not super hyped about the set, but I really like the fight. It's fun. And, it's tough enough that, people are actually, getting a little upset about it. Especially since, the flash bomb nerf came through. Because about a month and a half ago, they nerfed flash bombs because they were using them a little too readily to cheese out monsters. Because, if monster is flying and you throw a flash bomb under it, it'll get blinded and fall to the ground, so you get a free knockdown out of it.
Okay.
And so they nerfed that, so you can't. While it will flash bomb a lot of monsters, they really won't fall out of the sky as often. And Lunastra specifically, while it's flying in the air, if you use a flashbang, it will get stunned, but it's not going to fall. It's actually just going to float in the air stunned. So you got to go up and hit it, and that's pretty tough. It's especially for me and my dual blades with my low range. I haven't had to switch to bow to kill it yet. But I'm 80% certain that bow will be easier to kill it with because I can just poke out its wings and fire at its head the whole time. But dual blades is still pretty fun. I'm having a good time with the fight. I'm still learning its pattern. I don't have it on farm yet. I'm just kind of fighting it. I think I have 2-3 kills now. But yeah, I'm having fun with that. I'm looking forward to more stuff. I kind of want to do some style recordings a little bit because I saw a Japanese player fighting a Diablos, and they set down a bomb to kill, and they basically let the Diablos charge in behind it right into the bomb and then pose with an emote as it like connected, and then recorded it and then put it in slow-mo, and it looked great. It was actually fantastic. So I don't know. I want to do more stuff like that.
I do like goofy stuff like that, or when people are able to, I guess, achieve the meme dream.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched a game, a Hearthstone match that was done by Brian Kibler, who's probably one of my favorite Hearthstone players, where what Kibler did was he kept this deliberately bad opening hand instead of mulliganing anything, because it would allow him, he's like, oh, like the battle cry of this card, which I drew 2 of, will allow me to have a 4-cost silver sword. This is memes. Kept the opening hand because of its meme potential, which meant he had to like find ways of like staying alive until he could like execute the meme. But he had his 4-cost silver sword, which his opponent had no way of really effectively dealing with. So I do appreciate when people like are just so fly at something that they're able to do something which, you know, as a examination of superficial tactics, you're like, why would you do that? There are smarter and more efficient ways to do this murder. And you're like, well, I'm just so good, I could do the murder this dumb way.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
that's
for fun, it's for jokes.
Yep, it's for jokes. Whenever I design like contracts in Hitman, like I am generally designing them to try and achieve maximum comedy. So I appreciate that shit.
I feel that. You want to talk about the news?
Certainly.
So, got to the announcement I want to talk about, which is Pokemon Let's Go. Nintendo actually unveiled 2 new games, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, in a presentation in Tokyo on May 29th. It was at this event that we also got the release date of November 16, 2018 for both titles, releasing worldwide throughout Japan and Western regions simultaneously. No more Japan getting the game for a year and then taking over the meta. Let's get it. The Pokemon Company Twitter account revealed after the presentation that there would be brand new Pokemon featured in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Both games will feature the original 151 Pokemon, but some Alolan Pokemon will also be present. There's integration between these 2 games, Pokemon Go, the smash hit mobile game. Well, I guess it used to be a smash hit. And you'll be able to trade Pokemon between the 2 games, but online play won't be supported for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So, you know, it's a step in the right direction. Like, we get crossplay. We don't get trades yet. I hope we get battles. That could be cool. I would like to have my Pokemon Go team battle other people, even if it's like split screen. I'm alright with that. I don't like that we're doing Gen 1 again, but I know we talked about this. And I dislike that we're not focusing on like the stories of Red and Blue, even though we might be, but we probably are not. But, you know, we'll see.
I have so many thoughts and questions. So some things that like the dribble of information about this game has been like super interesting to me. And I think it has something to do with like the visual fidelity now offered by doing a game in HD for a console, which is possible. Like within the first day, the Pokemon Company said that there were going to be characters from the Pokemon anime that were going to show up. Characters from the Pokemon anime from the Kanto region that were going to show up in this game. And that Team Rocket, as you know them from the anime, are in this game. I wonder how people who are like longtime players of the series will feel about that. Because, like, I feel like the tenor and tone of the Pokemon anime and the original Red and Blue game are different. Like, Red and Blue are not Ash. So to, like, be running into Team Rocket and Brock and Misty and so forth. Seems like it's... I mean, I get... Hell, man, how do you feel? Inquiring minds would like to know, Rocky, how do you feel?
Okay, so I think the major differences, like, outside of tone, like, Pokemon, like, Red and Blue, which was initially supposed to represent Red and Blue, or as we know them colloquially as Ash and Gary, because I think Gary still has, like, the exact same character model, is mostly the same outside of it being, like, a little bit more intense and a little less forgiving, you know what I mean? Because, like, Ash makes a bunch of mistakes throughout the series, but he doesn't get his shit kicked in for them, and, like, in the game you do. But the supporting cast, like, Brock and Misty, while Brock and Misty are in Kanto and in every iteration of it since, they're interacting with Red and not Ash. So they don't become, like, you know, traveling companions or like, you know, longtime friends. But they still have the same ambitions and goals, and they do the same things. Misty, like, ultimately starts out as, like, a fledgling gym leader at the beginning of Red and Blue, but when you return in, like, Gold and Silver, she has since returned to the Cerulean City Gym, and she's the adult gym leader that shows up later in the anime. Same thing with Brock as well. But Brock is definitely a lot goofier in the show because he has that, like, friendship with Ash, while even in, like, Pokemon Origins, which is, like, probably the closest presentation of the game's mythos, or even the manga's mythos, shows him as a much more reserved character.
Right.
I welcome Jesse and James in the Team Rocket story, because I think that was probably the best improvement around, like, antagonists. I don't like them being inept as they are. That's why I liked, you know, like, the grunts that showed up in Ruby and Sapphire. Not the grunts, but, like, the mid-tier people before you got to, like, the leaders. If I don't... I might be wrong about this. Like, whoever actually watches the Pokemon anime can correct me, but I don't think Ash ever fought Giovanni. Like, I don't think that's a thing that ever happened. And I don't remember what happened when he got to the Viridian City Gym in the anime. Like, I know there was a whole song about, like, let's all go to Viridian City, and that whole thing. And then, like, I can't remember what he did to get the 8th badge, and I don't remember what happened between that and him going to the Pokemon League. But I feel like having Giovanni return in the way that he did in Origins, where you fought Team Rocket, like, all over the continent, and then you come back and it turns out the leader of the last gym was not only under your nose the whole time, but the head of a huge criminal organization. I still really like that twist, and I hope that doesn't really change in Pokemon Let's Go. But I don't know. I don't know if I really like Red and Blue Misty, and adding basically putting the anime characters into the game at that point doesn't seem like a huge deal breaker, because the iterations of Misty and Brock that I actually care about are the ones from Origins and the ones present in Gold's story. But I don't see this as, like, hurting that much. Also, I don't know anything about the protagonists. Like, I'm not even sure if they're actually just self-inserts or if they are supposed to have a similar story that we've seen before. I like the inclusion of Alolan Pokemon in the original 151. I'm not super jazzed about Kanto again, because we've done Kanto, I think, 5 times now. Because it was, like, Red and Blue, Fire Red, Leaf Green, both Gold, Silver, and Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and there's another one. I can't remember. Maybe it's 4 times. But I don't think changing Ash's story, or rather making this game closer to Ash's story in the anime, will actually hurt the game, because a lot of the characters as presented were mostly devoid of character. They had some voice lines, and the voice lines were cool, but they were more about, like, finding your own experience, and maybe that being a little bit more controlled could add something to the narrative of the game. I don't know.
How do you feel about the catching mechanic in this game being the same as the catching mechanic in Pokemon Go? Like, the catching is no longer combat.
It's strange. I can accept that, but when I think about the Pokemon world and how it exists, I prefer catching to not be combat. I understand that there are people that will like push back against it, but honestly, I think that's just nostalgia. I think it's just old heads, because I don't think catching Pokemon should be about combat unless it's a Pokemon that is actively resisting you. Mm-hmm. And in that point, I'm not sure whether or not you should catch it, which is a whole other thing. Like, especially with like legendaries. Like, I know like Red caught everything specifically for the Pokedex. Like, that's why he was doing it. But there are definitely people that like casually catch legendaries after like beating them into the ground. And I'm not sure if that's how we should treat legendary Pokemon. So I actually like the idea of like catching not being combat. And I really liked in the anime how James of Team Rocket has basically gotten every single Pokemon that has traveled with them by a point of negotiation. Like, he's never actually fought a Pokemon, captured it, and trained it in secret or whatever. He kind of just, like, walked up to the Pokemon and was like, hey, I'm on this journey, and I think it'd be cool if you came with me. Do you want to come along? And he offers it, like, a treat or something. And for the most part, they say yes. There are, I think, 2 Pokemon that have refused to travel with James. But pretty much all the other ones are just like, yeah, you seem nice and cool. I'll travel with you. Let's see how this goes.
Okay. So James is secretly from Shin Megami Tensei?
Yeah. Absolutely. He's the only one that survives once the demons like break free in the Pokemon universe. Shin Megami Tensei is definitely like post-apocalyptic Pokemon.
All right, I'm glad that like James is planning ahead for like when shit goes down. So I feel like some of the decisions they're making are getting some of the effects that they want, because when I hear like going back to Kanto and introducing the characters from the anime that you know, like the idea of like walking into a Pokemon Center and hearing a fully voiced Nurse Joy makes me want to play this fucking game. So I think that it's going to get people like me who probably have more of an attachment to the anime than to the previous games. And the idea of, I think catching Pokemon not using combat actually makes the combat mean more. Because one of the things that, like, I've tried to play Pokemon, like, I think twice, and, like, combat was just so constant. It's very, like, old school JRPG in that way.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, surprise, random combat, surprise, random combat, surprise, random combat. And then when you get into situations where you're actively grinding to get random combat experiences because you need to gather a certain type of Pokemon for some fucking gym that you're going to be going to. And I'm like, it seemed like the worst kind of treadmill. Like, I'm having random combat so that way I can have other random combat. And I'm like, but this seems to like distill the combat enough so that way you're having it when you want to, you're having it in situations where like it means more by making this other thing use this other mechanic. I like that. I'm all about that goofy Pokeball controller that they're putting out. I guess we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we didn't. I think it's neat. I don't have beef with it or anything. I want to see what you'll actually get between like moving Pokemon from Go to like Let's Go. Mm-hmm. Because they definitely are keeping that under wraps. Oh, also, I want to highlight this. Like, this is super important. Pokemon Let's Go, both Pikachu and Eevee, are not mainline Pokemon games. And, like, they are almost specifically designed to bridge people who were either initially interested in Pokemon Go or who are still playing Pokemon Go but don't have much experience with the series into the Pokemon series. Like, this is definitely a bridge game for a game that Nintendo has already confirmed where there will be a mainline Pokemon Switch in 2019.
The idea of making a throwing motion with a Pokeball and then having it like light up around the ring to confirm that you've caught and vibrate in your hand when you feel the Pokeball into the ball. I see that being kind of like an irresistible sensory experience for a lot of people.
I'm mostly just waiting for that animation where I can pull a Pokeball off my belt and then press the button so it expands to like an actual like orb in my hand and then throw it someplace. Like, I'm waiting for fully AR public Pokemon battles. I'm standing in a makeshift arena, I'm throwing Pokeballs, and like, you gotta hold up your phone or put on a special pair of glasses to see what the fuck is really going on. I want that future. I can't wait.
I feel like at this point, like, it's pretty clear, because when Nintendo said that their sales target for Switch by the end of the fiscal year was over 20 million units, people were like, okay, like, all right, we get that you're on a roll, Nintendo, but like, not reaching a total of 20 million units, but selling 20 million this fiscal year, you know, like, okay, you mean reaching 20 million based on your existing install base? Like, no, we mean sell through 20 million in this year. It felt aggressive, and people were like, how are they going to get there? And I see it happening at this point, because you've got this Pokemon game, which is going to bridge the existing excited install base for Pokemon Go. And I guess that's one of the things that's worth noting, is that when you have a game that pretty much everybody on the entire goddamn planet is playing, even when that game's player base drops by like 70%, that still means you have a metric shit ton of motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. Because your starting base was everyone. And I think that, like, if you get some of those people excited about something which essentially serves as a way of expanding their Pokemon Go experience, you're going to get, like, first-time console buyers. People who are like, I play Pokemon Go because I like Pokemon Go, but now I can find a way of, like, doing more Pokemon Go stuff with this thing. Yeah. Like, it creates a nice Ouroboros loop there. Mm-hmm. Plus, there's people out there maybe who are even further removed from games than me, who have like an affinity for the Pokemon anime, but don't necessarily or haven't necessarily jumped into the games because there has been this perceived distance between the games and the anime, and they're seeing some of the steps that they're taking to try and lure in those people. And I'm like, ooh, Jesse and James are in it? Meowth Balloon? I'm on fucking board.
Oh, also, I do want to clarify, there is a significant difference between the game and the animes. And, like, I'm sorry, I don't know if I failed about this on this podcast. I'm not going to really yell about it, but I hate Ash. I think Ash is probably one of the worst Pokemon trainers I've ever seen in my life. And the show gets to do wacky bullshit to make Ash win that just teaches people how to be bad trainers, and it makes me upset. I'm done. I'm not going to go into it.
Okay, all right, a couple ideas, or a couple points. One, they have not said whether Ash is in this game, yes or no. We know that you are not playing as Ash, so we know that much. Right. You are, it looks like playing as Red or Blue, which I think creates the nightmare possibility that if you run into fucking, like, Ash, or run into Gary, does that mean that you are Shudder running into some kind of weird version of yourself?
There's actually some really interesting creepypasta about that, that surrounds Fire Red, where, like, Fire Red and Leaf Green are actually, fake. They're, like, imposter, like, Reds. Like, you go through on the same journey, but it's very clear that it's after Red's time. So you're, like, basically someone pretending to be Red. Like, you're a Red imposter the whole time. Also, while Ash is not actually Red, I think Gary is actually Blue. Because Gary does pretty much all the blue things except become the Viridian City gym leader. Like, I think that's the only thing he doesn't do. I think he ultimately does become the, what's Blaine's gym? The fire gym leader's island called?
I'm blanking.
I can't remember, but I know Gary ultimately becomes that gym leader, but he doesn't become the Viridian City gym leader at all. But outside of that, he uses the same Pokemon and he does all the same things. I guess he also goes to Orange Island, but I'm pretty
Cinnabar.
sure
Sorry,
Cinnabar.
Yeah.
You looked it up? Yeah.
No, I just sat here with, I thought I was going to have a stroke.
I'm sorry, man.
No worries.
Yeah. So Gary does become the Cinnabar Island gym leader, but I don't think he actually ever becomes Viridian. And, but yeah, like, Gary's actually blue, like 100, like not 100%, but maybe something like 95% of the way. Oh wait, no, two things. Gary never becomes the Viridian City gym leader and never becomes the Pokemon League champion. But neither does Ash. Like, I think Ash challenges the Kanto Pokemon League and he loses. He doesn't beat Lance or anything. And then he goes to the Orange Islands.
So they've got Pokemon Let's Go. They've got Super Smash Brothers, which God damn it. Like, it's a port. It's come on, guys. Admit it's a port.
No, it's actually really funny. There are a handful of people that are still arguing that it might not be a port, but it's a fucking port. Like I don't know why that's a point. I understand, like, we're actually through the cycle. Like, we're about 5 years in, but we're 5 years in from Smash 4 starting, and there's nothing to indicate that they've been working on this game the whole time. Like, all the copyrights are basically just like a year off. And that's either crazy risky or it's a port. And I'm pretty sure it's a port.
It's a fucking port. I mean, it's not like I'm going to fault them for it or anything. Like, as we've reviewed on this show before, 19 people bought Wii U's. All 19 of them liked it. But there were only 19 of them. You know, like, so Nintendo can get a lot of mileage out of fucking ports, as they have done so already. Like, Jesus Christ, like, how many of the best-selling games for the Switch are fucking Wii U ports? Like, it is ridiculous how many copies of Mario Kart 8 they've sold. It is amazing. Like, Splatoon 2, like, might as well be called Splatoon 1.5. I don't think it's a bad thing. Because they've done a lot of good work around expanding that game, but, like, it's fucking Splatoon. Bayonetta 2, here it comes. Like, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, here it comes. Like, it's a fucking port. Smash people, stop deluding yourself. You're going to feel a lot better once you accept the fact that it's a port. Now, that said, that doesn't mean that there can't be awesome things in there that are total fan service. Like, we obviously know that they're adding new characters, like with the Splatoon kids.
I want Neffany and Hector. Sorry.
I would not surprise me if they don't, like, bring back fucking Ice Climbers.
No, they're not going to bring back Ice Climbers because the Smash team is a bunch of cowards and they don't know how to deal with wobbling or fucking... or even desyncing. I wish they just made desyncing like an actual mechanic instead of something that we had to fucking figure out. Like, are you familiar with the Ice Climbers tech, Brian?
I am, yeah.
Okay. But, like, yeah, wobbling's bullshit.
The reason I think that we're going to see them come back is because of the on-paper reason they gave for removing them in the first place, which was that the 3DS couldn't handle Ice Climbers. And I believe that. Like, I do believe that the 3DS could not handle Ice Climbers. Just from, like, a processing perspective. They're like, we couldn't put them in because we wanted to try and make the roster of characters the same between both versions, and the 3DS couldn't handle it. And I'm like, okay. So, like, I could see the return of Ice Climbers being something that happens, because now that they're not having to make sure that the game can also run on a second, significantly weaker platform, they don't have that consideration. Also, I don't think I would suspect that I would live in a world where, like, the return of the fucking Ice Climbers could be some kind of, like, A-tier fan service. Yeah. There has not been an Ice Climbers game in, like, what, 30 years? Jesus.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yo, what if we get a new Ice Climbers game?
We don't live in that world, Rocky.
Hey, man, you know what? Like, Mother 3 is coming, alright? You heard it here first. Mother 3 at E3. It's all coming together. And we're going to get a balloon fight game and an Ice Climbers game and F-Zero might be mentioned. There might be an F-Zero project in the works. Just saying.
That I believe, but I think we're also going to get that goofy Star Fox racing game, but...
God damn it. Why are they making furry racing games now? You know what I mean? Just put Star Fox in Mario Kart 8, give me an actual dogfighter. Fuck off, Nintendo.
Then I guess there's that Fortnite leak that happened out of Korea. So, like, I think that between Fortnite, Smash, and Pokemon Let's Go, we know how they're getting to 20 million units sold this year.
Let's go.
Like,
Okay, Brian, I don't mean to rush you, but we've spent like 30 minutes on this one story. Can we move to the next one?
We certainly can. And that story is fucking Fallout. So Bethesda Game Studios has spent like a day pointing a camera at a TV screen with a bobblehead beside it, which was a way of getting people hardened the trousers before airing a 1.5-minute trailer for a new game called Fallout 76. There were a few like hints about the game that existed within the trailer. There's a calendar at the front of the trailer which kind of shows a date of October 27th, which of course has people believing that that's going to be the release date of the game. They pan past like a boxed board game which says for up to 5 players on the side. You know, again, kind of a hint. And canonically in the world of Fallout, Shelter 76 is known as one of the control vaults, which didn't have any weird experiments performed in it. And it was also scheduled to open only after 25 years after the war. And it was supposed to be somewhere in West Virginia. And in the trailer, Country Roads by John Denver is playing. So, Rocky, what do you think this game is? What you heard? How are your feels?
It's an MMO. It's going to ruin the Fallout franchise. And a lot of people are going to hate it. It's still going to sell over 1 million copies.
I believe that most of the things you said are true.
Mm-hmm.
I think that everyone will hate it. I think it will sell over 1 million copies. And I think that it will be multiplayer, but not massively multiplayer. I think it will be small instances, which means that you are going to have one of two things happen. Either you're going to match into a game with people that you do not want to play games with, or you're going to fail to find people to play with, because that's just how video games work. In fact, Rocky, please join me for a role-playing scenario. I'm going to be a guy who owns Fallout 76. You be any other human being.
Sure.
Hello, person I know. Would you like to play Fallout 76? I am playing it on my Xbox One.
What's Fallout 76?
Well, it's a sandbox survival sim game set in the Fallout universe, supporting up to 5 players.
Are there dinosaurs?
There are not.
I'm out.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to go jump off a pier now. That's how it's going to go. And there's any number of ways that nightmare scenario could have gone, which is like, oh, I don't like Fallout, or, oh, Fallout's supposed to be single player. This sounds lame. Or, oh, fuck sandbox survival sims. Or, oh, I'm on PS4 and you're on Xbox, and those two platforms don't play nice with each other. Like, there are so many things which are going to be barriers to getting 5 people together for these little sandbox instances. Also, like, is it a shared space? If I spend a bunch of time in your world, Rocky, helping you find clean water, then does that mean I need to now go spend a bunch of time in my world finding clean water? Or do we have a shared space? Like, I don't know, man. It's weird because, like, as soon as, like, Jason Schreier started publishing some leaked shit, and like, we know how, like, incredibly reliable he is. Like, I just read some stuff about it. I was like, yep, nope, I'm out. It's funny because there are a couple of people at my day job who are really deep into games, and both of them are also really deep into Bethesda games. And it's funny, the half-life time between when they both changed their fucking desktop pictures, I shit you not, to a screen cap from the fucking trailer. They're like, oh man, to the time where they're like, oh man. Like, the time from oh man to oh man was like less than a day. Like, way to shit the bed, Bethesda. Like, I feel like they needed to get out there in front of this thing immediately and say, like, what it was, because as it leaked, a whole bunch of their fans felt disappointed and burned. So if this thing has major single-player feeling story elements, they need to say so as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but, you know, like, Bethesda lately... You know what? I'm just going to say this. I'm pretty sure Fallout has been an accident since Fallout 3. Like, I don't even think Bethesda is the people that really made Fallout what it is. It's just the people that were playing it and they liked the weird shit that was going on. Because when they try to actually, you know, actively be involved, like in Fallout 4, where they try to, like, you know, apparently make a space for the mod community, but instead just try to co-opt the modding community. And now this, like, it just seems like they don't actually know what people want, and so they should just kind of go back to doing whatever. Which might be this, but also might not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of a hitting the nail there with saying that, like, they haven't been directly responsible for Fallout's success since Fallout 3, because New Vegas was developed by Obsidian. So, like, right. the one that everybody looks back on affectionately and talks about wistfully, you know, like, if you were to do that meme of that guy looking at the girl's butt when he's standing beside his girlfriend, the one that he's looking at is playing New Vegas again, and the girlfriend would be Fallout 4. Like, Fallout 4 fell flat for a lot of people because all the crafting mechanics were poorly executed. There were too many, like, procedurally generated stories in the game, which were like, find X of Y to bring to Z, all of which were just randomly generated, so none of it can be really interesting. And the map kind of sucks. So, like, we'll see. And Schreier also mentioned that apparently the only way mods are going to be available for this thing is the fucking shitty Creators Club where you have to pay for mods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am way out. Like, I'm interested in Rage 2, so, like, I'm still on board for their conference, but, like, I sure hope they've got some other stuff on deck. Rocky, any other leaky shit coming out of the world of video games in advance of E3?
Well, there was this one French video game website, and it looks like they may have leaked the next Assassin's Creed game from Ubisoft. There was a photo on the site that looks like official merchandise related to the game. The new franchise sequel will apparently be called Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and will be a sequel to Assassin's Creed's Origin, starring Bayek. Ubisoft has confirmed that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is going to be a game on their Twitter, and the company posted a short video of what looks like a Spartan soldier kicking someone off a cliff, like kind of like in 300. Ubisoft also confirmed that the game will be at E3, and that we'll have more details, presumably at the Ubisoft conference.
Ooh, I'm interested. Way interested.
Well, I'm glad they're keeping the right parts, you know, like the style still feels very much the same, and like Bayek is one of the best characters to come out of last year, and so keeping that going is pretty cool. And throwing in Spartans definitely have a rich history to explore. I hope they have other Greek civs involved as well. We just gotta see.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that Origins was really good at, because, like, as you explored Egypt, you got to see some of the differences in the culture depending on where you were, which was wild. Like, oh, okay, like, so up here, you know, the old religions don't really haven't really taken foot. Like, over here, like, there's Greek people and Egyptian people living side by side, peacefully. Over here, there's, like, very much a lot of, like, Roman oppression. Down here, where there isn't much in the way of natural resources, Egyptian people are just like doing as they will because Romans don't see the need to like send a bunch of garrisons down here to like exploit. Like it was interesting to see like this like cultural geography, and so like yeah, like I definitely want to see that, Rocky. I want to be able to explore fucking Greece and look at all these little states and see how they differ. And so yes, way on board. I wonder if they're just starting the hype cycle or if they're planning on releasing this thing this year. Like,
I hope not, honestly.
Yeah, I would not mind them just like being like, hey guys, by the way, the next Assassin's Creed game is called Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It comes out next year. And in fact, I'll even give them this wiggle room. I would not mind if they said, and this game is coming out in March. If they said this game was coming out in March, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
But like, I want to make sure that they've taken their time. It seems like they have some kind of like strategy. I'm wondering what the naming rhythm will be for the third game in the rumored Bayek trilogy. Because it's Origins, Odyssey, and what's the next O word? What's the next O word?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Whoever comes up with the best O word to finish the trilogy will win a prize. I'll figure out what that prize is.
Yep.
It'll be something sick, although kind of small. Wait, I know exactly what it is. The prize is going to be sick, but kind of small.
And I have one more question about this game, and then we can move on, Rocky. Do you think Bayek will throw his hat to possess things?
God, that'd be even spookier in that universe. Right?
Yeah.
And if it's a top hat, too?
Oh, God. I'm going to be one of those sick-ass fucking hippos. It's going to be incredible.
Oh, no. Just running through Egypt. Let's go. Okay, so guys, PUBG, they are reasonably upset, but they've finally taken off the gloves. It turns out that it's gone public that PUBG is suing Epic Games for copyright infringement. PUBG Corporation, developers of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Jesus, why can't I say words? PUBG Corporation, the developers of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and subsidiary of Bluehole, filed a copyright violation lawsuit against Epic Games over whether or not Epic's Fortnite Battle Royale copied aspects of PUBG. They probably did. According to the Korea Times, a PUBG representative said that the company filed an injunction in January alleging copyright infringement in the Seoul Central District Court against Epic Games Korea. PUBG Corp first said it was, quote, concerned of PUBG when were being replicated in Fortnite. Nope, that's not right. Jesus. PUBG Corp first said it was concerned aspects of PUBG were being replicated by Fortnite back in September. It was 2 months after Fortnite added a Battle Royale mode to its building survival sim. PUBG Corp CEO C.H. Kim also lamented Fortnite's entry into the Battle Royale genre by highlighting the relationship between Epic Games and PUBG Corp, as PUBG runs on Epic's Unreal Engine. We also mentioned that on the show, I think about a year ago.
Yep.
PUBG Corp is worried that Fortnite may have core UI elements that are similar to those in PUBG. So, it's cool that this is actually becoming public, but as the story reads, the injunction was actually filed in January. But I think the reason that it's becoming a lot more public now, or why we're getting a hold of it, that we're reporting on it, is because Fortnite is actually starting to push PUBG out of the Battle Royale scene. I mean, they still have their diehards, but Fortnite now has the larger population and the larger representation on Twitch, to the point that Dr. Disrespect has been berating Fortnite players openly on his stream. So,
did you know that PUBG is putting a Dr. Disrespect skin into their fucking game?
I did not know that, but I 100% believe it, even if you are actually lying to me.
No, it's a real thing. I am not telling you stories here. They are putting a screen of a dirtbag Gamergator into their fucking game. Like, I don't know why, man. Like, it just feels so grounded in desperation. And speaking of things that feel like they're grounded in desperation, this lawsuit.
Well, like, honestly, I don't know. I feel for Brian Green. Like, I understand that, like, Fortnite's beating them for a lot of reasons, honestly. Zero entry cost, the more accessible color scheme and, like, animation style, the culture that's, like, growing around it. Like I mean, like, who does PUBG have streaming along with Dr. Disrespect? Like, Ninja, who, like, he pulls, like, about 100,000 viewers whenever he's streaming, 3,000 at night, and, like, peaked to nearly, like, 5,000 when he brings guests on. Like, Drake was on with Ninja one night, and, like, they were just fucking around. Like, they weren't doing anything, like, actually groundbreaking. They were just playing a game together. And, like, PUBG doesn't have that. They're losing the culture war. They don't have the player count. They were simply here first. And Green, like, he gave, like, 8 years of his life to, like, developing this game. And, he's not going to go broke or anything, Like, he's still potentially, like, a multi-millionaire now. But the fact that they're being overtaken by Epic Games is definitely dirty. And I feel like they should do something about it.
So, like, there are some historical precedents here, two which are worth mentioning. Funny enough, they both involve Data East. So, I guess it was, 1984? Data East puts out a game called Karate Champ. And, it does real well. And then, like, the next year, Epyx, no, not Epic, but Epyx, spelled
with an X, right?
Yeah, EPYX, puts out a game called Karate World Tournament. And Data East proceeds to sue them, saying, "Oh no, you didn't." Gets tossed, and their case gets tossed. In a groundbreaking case that talks about, like, what you can and can't copyright, in the context of, like, game design. Flash forward 8 years, Data East puts out a video game called Fighter's History, which looks like a Street Fighter Street Fighter game. Like, it looks like Street Fighter 2. And it even to the point of, like, the main boring dude, because fighting games have main boring dudes, like your default character. He looks like a Ryu-ass Ryu. His a quarter circle and punch gets you a fireball, that kind of thing. There's a fat guy who can launch himself across the screen. The whole bit. And so Capcom sues Data East, and when it gets to court, Data East is like, surprise, we win, and we know we win because of this lawsuit we lost 8 years ago. And the court agreed. And then another thing that Data East presented in the context of that lawsuit was kind of like this idea of playing this, like, endless, ultimate genealogy of video gaming things, is because they said not only do we lose that lawsuit against Epyx, but also we created Karate Champ. So in 1984, so making games which feature characters prominently which are using karate now is something that certainly is not out of place. And so, like, Capcom's lawsuit against Data East got thrown out. And it's one of those things where, like, if PUBG Corp wants to make this case, like, Brandon Green has been designing Battle Royale modes for years prior to this game. Before this, he did the work for what was called at the time Sony Online Entertainment, for creating the King of the Kill mode for H1Z1.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, he developed the Battle Royale mod for Arma 3. And then if we want to talk about things that are like before that, there's stuff that he didn't do, like say MAG, which was a massively multiplayer online shooter for like the last generation of consoles. Mm-hmm. Or what defines Battle Royale? If it's just being like you get killed and you're out, does that mean that what they're chasing is like stuff like CS:GO? Like I feel like this is not a winnable situation, asterisk, except for we're all talking about this in the context of US law. I don't know enough about like how Korean courts are going to treat this. I can't speak to that. It would be sure as shit interesting if what happens is some Korean court rules in favor of PUBG Corp, which essentially ends up changing where Fortnite is available, or ends up making Fortnite have to make some changes in some markets. Like, that'd be an interesting thing.
But okay, I think there are two important differences to highlight here. One is the proximity of Epic Games and now PUBG Corp, but originally, it was always PUBG Corp. Because there may be, like an actual like infringement of assets, which Epic clearly had access to. Like, I think in court, PUBG Corp definitely has the burden of proving that these assets were used, and they could subpoena like the code to try to like compare them, to have them analyzed that way. Because I don't know if Brandon Green or PUBG Corp has like taken apart Fortnite to try to see if their code lines up the same way. But I don't think this is going to boil down to mechanics. Like, or at least if they try to make it boil down to mechanics, I don't think that's what's going to win them the case. That probably will make them lose. But because like if Epic honestly rebuilt their game from the ground up to look like a battle royale game without even touching any of the assets or code that Brandon Green was using for PUBG, then yeah, like they wouldn't be able to defend that under American intellectual property law. And even though they're not fighting in America, and Korean intellectual property laws are probably different, but probably not that different, because like South Korea's legal system is very closely or very similar to like the US's court system. They don't exactly have all the same precedents, but they usually fall in line on most things. But I think if it comes down to assets, they might have a case. Or even like how the mechanics, well, not how the mechanics work, but how they're designed on like a code like basis. If they can find chunks of code that explicitly mirror the work that Brandon Green even did on an older iteration of PUBG, because the games definitely play differently now, but if you can go back to an older version and see how they pulled something from Fortnite back then, that would give them a leg to stand on.
Right.
And like Data East with Capcom and Data East with Epics, like I don't think they were that close together. And so if they're just ripping off mechanics, that's something that would exist, or that is permissible under like some copyright law, as long as it's not, quote unquote patented, which I'm not even sure if you can patent mechanics. Well, no, I guess you can patent certain codes. We reported on a story with COD doing the thing with the microtransaction watching AI with matchmaking and whatever.
Yeah, and I guess the difference between Data East and those two companies is that neither of those companies were ever in a relationship where they were responsible for snuggling with Data East. Like nobody was ever like whispering sweet things into Data East ears, saying like, "Hey, baby, I got your engine for you."
Yeah.
So like it's a weird one. It's one that I am fascinated by. Like Knives Out, when they sued Knives Out, I could definitely see that because there's some shit about the language that is used to advertise Knives Out on both the Google Play Store and the App Store, where it feels like the publishers of Knives Out are deliberately trying to mislead customers into believing that what they are downloading is the mobile version of PUBG. Which is why I think that lawsuit has a leg to stand on. I just don't know about this one. This one is interesting shit. What a time to be alive.
God, I gotta learn Korean law. Maybe I should just learn Korea and Chinese law. I'm learning Chinese or Mandarin at the moment. I don't know if I'll actually get into Cantonese. See how that goes. But that's neither here nor there. That's not super important. It's not even news. Brian, what's the news? What's going on?
I guess I need to eat my hat.
Why? What happened, man? What'd you say? What'd you do?
Well, we have previously casually mentioned on this show that the company which is currently wearing the resurrected corpse of Atari as a costume was going to release a console.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That shit looked dumb.
Sure. So, they launched their Indiegogo campaign on the 30th.
Okay, how much they got? $3?
As of the time of this recording, $2,343,747.
What the shit? Who gave these idiots $2 million? Dude, we need to make an Indiegogo. We gotta get in on this, man. Like, between this and Potato Salad Guy, I am livid. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so 2.3 million, so far 9,047 backers.
Oh my god. 10,000 of these idiots? Okay, it's fine. It's okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult these people. Let's go.
All right, this is, again, just from the 30th, and just for disclosure, we're recording on the 2nd. So they have raised $2.3 million in 3 days. With a stated launch date on the console on their Indiegogo for July of 2019. So it seems like there is a lot of hunger out there for, I guess, a new console or a console alternative. Like it seems like
Atari.
So I guess I should kind of like, walk through some of the details of this. So they launched this thing. The VCS is running on Ubuntu. And it's running a Radeon R7 processor. It'll come loaded with a 32 gig hard drive, 4 gigs of DDR4 RAM, and has room for expandable storage. It connects to the internet and will support streaming video and online multiplayer games. Voice control is handled by 4 front-facing mics on the console. And will have two different controller types at launch. One, a retro classic Atari style controller, and the second, a modern style game controller, both connect to the console via Bluetooth. Atari's not really releasing a lot of information yet about lineup. It will include, at launch, Atari Vault, which will be more than 100 classic Atari titles, playable in their original arcade and or their 2600 format versions. The company will include classics like Pong, Missile Command, Crystal Castles. The new Tempest 4000 by Jeff Minter is also mentioned as one of the games that will be available to download. And I know that one of the things that we have talked about in the past on the show is like, if Atari is going to release a new console, then having games that people want to give a shit about is something that they need to do. And the new Jeff Minter game is certainly one of those things. Like, I don't know if you've ever played anything by Jeff Minter, Rocky, but it's fucking bonkers. I think you'd love him.
Okay.
And like, yeah, this thing's absolutely taken off like wildfire. It's got a lot of positive reaction. They showed some they've got some video and some GIFs of the UI for this thing. And it's funny because the UI already looks cleaner than the current version of the Xbox UI. I'm like, man, like that's one of those things where it just can like, congratulations on shaming Microsoft on the weakest part of their console experience, which is that like just navigating the Xbox One is fucking terrible. But, like, looking at this thing, I'm like, man, this looks nice and clean. Like, it's obvious that somebody looked at what Nintendo is doing with the Switch UI. And, yeah, and came up with something which was, like, very strongly influenced by that. Simple and clean. And the fact that, like, it's running Ubuntu means that, like, as long as players engage some additional features on the console, like, as soon as they, like, say, as soon as they turn off the safety gates, so to speak, they'll be able to just, like, throw Steam Big Picture on this thing and download anything that has a Linux version that'll run in the machine's specs. So, like, the fact that this thing appears to be, like, a really well-priced living room PC for a good price with a dedicated storefront seems to be really attracting people. Like, it's weird because it seems like what they're doing is kind of what Valve's mission was originally for the Steam machine, which was a unified low-cost Linux living room PC that will be easy to develop for because people will all be targeting, like, a set of specs. Like, who would have thought that, like, Atari would solve the Steam machine problem?
It's not really Atari.
I know. It's so weird to have to make that distinction. But for lack of a better name, because just saying the people wearing the eviscerated corpse of Atari over and over again gets kind of laborious because it takes a while to say it.
What if we call it Prox Atari? We'll work on it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, it seems like that this thing is going to sell a fair number of units. If this number of people are willing to shell out in 3 days for something that's not coming out until July of next year, then how many of these things are going to sell once they're just, like, sitting on store shelves?
Okay, so if I'm understanding this right, I think Impossible Coin Studios' tentative title will be formally featuring their games on the Steam storefront, Nintendo Switch, and the unreleased Atari console. So look forward to Melon Smash, Mad Men Diamond DX Edition, Going Ham Diamond DX Edition, and Hammo Bang on these 3 storefronts. Indeed.
It's wild because they put up some of their rules for curation on the Atari storefront. And it made evident, it was made evident through their rules that that Atari is going to more aggressively curate their store than Steam does theirs. And I was like, oh Jesus, like, this is hilarious. Like, so it's a dedicated PC storefront with more aggressive curation than Steam. Like, one of the things we do on this show over and over again is, like, refer people to other storefronts. Like, go buy on GOG, go buy on Itch. Because they're actually making sure that stuff like games about school shooting and raping people are not getting onto their platforms. And it kind of looks like Atari is also like, yes, curation by humans is necessary. So good on them. Good on these fucking guys. Like, I remain interested, which is not something I thought I could have said a couple months ago. Like, I will continue to watch this thing with curiosity and hope it works out. In other Atari news, which is much sadder, Ted Dabney, one of the founders of Atari, has passed. Dabney, one of the co-founders of the company, passed from esophageal cancer at the age of 81. And he didn't spend a lot of time in the video game industry, but his effect and his legacy definitely profound. His original design for arcade architecture would influence the design of arcade machines for years. He is one of the two co-founders of Atari. The other one, of course, is Nolan Bushnell. They met at Ampex in 1969, and they kind of forged a relationship over Bushnell's idea for a pizza restaurant that would feature games and animatronics. Obviously, that would go on to become
Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, that eventually, but first it would be Showtime Pizza, which got bought out by Chuck E. Cheese. And they would form Atari. Eventually, they would take on another Ampex employee, Al Alcorn. And then they developed Pong. And Dabney's main role in this process was developing a video circuit that was originally used for their first game, Computer Space. He also designed the coin slot mechanism for arcade machines and how to mass produce arcade boards. Like, kind of shit which is fundamental. Like, arcades would not have existed as we know them without Ted Dabney.
True. Like,
designing the coin slot and designing mass fabrication for arcade boards, a big deal. Although shortly after Pong, he was pushed out of Atari by Bushnell and Alcorn. They put him in a position where he had to sell his shares to them. And there was this kind of history, this effort up until I'd say about 2007 by Bushnell and Alcorn to kind of like retroactively revise the history of the company and not talk about Dabney and not talk about his contributions. But some like documentaries that started coming out and some writing that started happening around that time, it kind of forced them to publicly reconcile the fact that, like, yes, Ted Dabney existed. Yes, Ted Dabney was influential and absolutely transformative. So fortunately, like, that happened and that his legacy was preserved. But it, I think is worth noting that we are getting to the point now where, like, a lot of these guys, and I know I've said it on the show before, are starting to pass away. And because there is such a meat grinder to this industry, we sometimes retroactively rewrite people's histories and contributions. So it's important to, like, interview and document and collect these artifacts and take these narratives now, so that way we have these stories later. Because, like, I would not want to know that, like, somebody's entire contributions and legacy had been rewritten and overwritten and discarded. So yeah, what a bummer. But hey, like, at least one day, fucking creepy restaurants with singing robots eventually happen, Ted Dabney. Your dream of singing robots not only went on to happen, eventually they became so iconic that a video game series based on this creepy idea went on to become a huge success. So, hurrah. And to everybody out there who's ever lost, $20 playing Street Fighter in an arcade, I salute you. I dumped all that money into a coin slot of your invention.
And I never dropped that much money on, like, Street Fighter, like, but mostly because most of the people I'd end up playing were bad. But I did lose a lot of money playing DDR in high school. Like, it was something like $40 a week. I was really in shape back then. Good times.
Yeah.
Okay, so, real quick, one thing I feel like I should mention. Intellivision exists.
What?
And I think they're making a new console. And it's supposed to come out this year.
What?
No big. Just, this guy's who made the console, whose controller looks like a handheld phone. And their best-selling game was Las Vegas Poker and Gambling that sold nearly 2 million units. They're coming back. They're making a comeback, I guess. To be more specific, the company in question is Intellivision Entertainment. Tommy Tallarico, the veteran game music composer, is their president, and he's apparently managed to gather quite a few of the people who worked on the original Intellivision together to make a whole new console that, rather like the Atari VCS, is going to try to mix the old with the new. It's in its very early stages, so there's no pictures and doesn't even have a name, but there was a Facebook Q&A conducted that reviewed a couple of things. Tallarico has indicated that 10 new games will be available at launch, whenever that is, alongside an emulator that will play all old Intellivision games. Aside from that, you can probably guess some of the other details. There will be HDMI. There will likely not be a cartridge slot. It sounds as though Intellivision are going to concentrate more specifically on games as opposed to Atari VCS's attempts on being a full media box, and they've indicated that it will ship at a cheaper price point. However, online play is, quote, certainly being considered, and yes, the joystick will include a number pad for maximum authenticity. Dude, what kind of hipster nonsense? Sorry. Okay. Although what is to be done about all those overlays remains to be seen. However, not much of this sounds particularly out there when it comes to these console revivals. A full reveal is scheduled for October 1st. Dude, they're going to put a number pad on another controller? Are they serious?
I thought that we were done with number pads on controllers when the Atari Jaguar happened.
Dude, I thought we were done with number pads when we stopped using cordless phones. Like we're just not gonna do it. But it's real. It's out here, man. This is ridiculous. It's happening.
What are your thoughts on this?
I hate these people. They sound dumb. What the hell, Tallarico?
I guess one of the things, I'm kind of on board with Tommy Tallarico as a dude. If you told me Tommy Tallarico was doing something, I'm mostly on board with that guy. I like the work he's done around getting recognition for video game composers.
Yeah.
But when I would think about guys to lead my business for resurrecting a game console, I don't necessarily think Tommy fucking Tallarico. That's not the name that springs to mind.
But why did he get this gang back together? You know what I mean? He found the Intellivision folks. You know what the world needs? It needs another Intellivision. Why? Why? What is this, man? Their top-selling game on the Intellivision was literally a gambling simulator. That's what it was. That is the best thing to ever sell on that system. Dude, what?
And that's not to say that there were bad, that there weren't good games for the Intellivision. There were.
Sure.
But I don't know who's out there with their little signs protesting in the street for lack of Intellivision consoles. Is there really that much of a market for Intellivision fucking revival? Does that need exist?
Okay, so if I could backtrack for a bit, I'm not sure that's what this is about. I really hope that what it's about is that people want more options in the console space.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with more options. I think this one is particularly dumb because they're going to ship it with a numpad on the joystick controller, which is stupid. But if people are willing to look past that and they end up, if indies pick this up, if this becomes the new JRPG machine or the new indie platformer machine instead of Atari arcade simulator with their competition to Steam, then that could be cool. It's one of those things it's like Bethesda, actually. I don't think if Intellivision is successful in remaking the Intellivision, it won't because of any decision Tommy Tallarico made, unless that decision was these people are doing this stuff, let's give them a space to do it. But outside of that, man, I don't know. I think the only way that they're going to do well is if they get out of their own way. If they just happen to be a console that offers a healthy alternative and a space for creators and players to enjoy themselves, and that's cool. But like, if they're just trying to like make a new Intellivision, it's probably not going to go well, and they need to stop doing that right now.
Man, like, I had completely forgotten until a lot of these articles about this Atari VCS this week, and the new Intellivision, that there was a successful Kickstarter for a new ZX Spectrum that happened. And like, I was like, oh man, yeah, there was that campaign for a new ZX Spectrum. So it like the famous like very gaming intensive British PC, like sorry, PC is the wrong word because it wasn't DOS based, like British computer, and that thing's chugging along. They're continuing to like have updates like up to multiple times a month, being like, here was where we are in fabrication. And it's interesting because I always thought that like the next people who were going to enter the console space was going to be some kind of like megacorp, which has just like unlimited money and can like get like dozens of guys into a room with a whiteboard and like perform like endless focus testing. That like the next people who were going to really enter console markets would be somebody like Amazon or somebody like Tencent. People who can just be like, whatever, fuck it. Like, we can enter this market and then automatically dominate it because of our existing cash reserves and company size. But, like, I do kind of like the idea of, like, plucky upstarts. And plucky upstarts who can tug at heartstrings, I guess, have a fighting chance. Just every one of y'all, here's all I ask. Please don't ooh-ya me. Don't ooh-ya me, all right? That's all I ask.
Dude, they might get ooyed. They really might. Oh no.
Oh man. Man, we had a lot of news this week.
Yeah.
So apparently, when Tegan is drunk in a hot tub, things happen.
I mean, we're usually doing things. Plus, we're ramping up to E3. Like, I'm sure we'll get some more shenanigans next week.
Yeah, well, sorry. I mean, this is our last episode before the conferences.
Yep, sound about right.
Yep, Godspeed. See you on the other side, everybody. But before we go, there's business that we must take care of every week, which includes letting you good people know what trash came out on Steam today. Rocky, 112 games came out on Steam yesterday.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Actually.
Yep. And so far, 9 games have come out on Steam today. I've been watching them come out as we've been recording. So here's what we've got so far. Erotic Jigsaw Challenge Volume 1.
No.
Can you be more specific?
I reject the existence of this game, Brian. I don't acknowledge it, and I won't abide it.
It is 99 cents. It says, 20 puzzles await you in Erotic Jigsaw Challenge Volume 1. Fun puzzle-solving action with beautiful artwork. Rise to the challenge. I don't even think that's an intentional boner joke. It looks pretty bad. It appears to be like some really like low quality 3D renders of like ladies, and then just some like stock photos. So it's not even like a consistent style. Ooh, some of these are real bad. Ooh, man. And I don't mean like they're super lascivious or nothing. I just mean I just don't know how anybody is going to feel a stirring in their loins. Let's see here. What else do we have this week? We have Turn Up Jeans, 99 cents.
Wait. Spell jeans for me real quick.
Jeans.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. All right,
Turn
carry
up,
on.
turn up jeans. Turn up jeans. This game is created to improve skills of owning a mouse and keyboard.
Oh, God.
Features, good graphics and music, a unique workout to improve your speed in tucking in jeans. Develop your reaction in a geometric progression. Yup. I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm watching the trailer for Turn Up Jeans right now. I'm confused inside. Man. It's just like this sneaker, which is sailing from one side of the screen to the other, and it just gets cuffed. Man. So, what else we got? That's no winner. All right, we have In Memory of Titan, 1999. Man, it might as well be $1 million. In Memory of Titan is a roguelite, tactical, turn-based, real-time strategy action-based space opera.
Yeah, I think like
Battle
8 of
your way
those
across the solar system.
are contradictions.
I agree. Battle your way across the solar system, customize your fleet to master your enemies, and fight for the survival of the human race. There is no quarter, no port to hide, only the cold emptiness of space. It is in early access. Of course it is. Down here in the About This Game description, they say tactics, turn-based, real-time, roguelike. You grew up playing turn-based tactics and RTS, but always wanted to have the best of both worlds. The action-packed thrill of RTS and the customization of an RPG and of turn-based games. You always wanted more. We'd like to introduce the Rhapso, roguelike action-packed space opera. Behold a modern blend of tactical turn-based RPG games and roguelike elements for flavor. All that plus multiplayer. Fuck off! Co-op and procedurally generated missions.
Oh, dude, I hate these people. Let's make sure let's just hope no one really gives them money.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's going to give them money. Like, that's already a thing that's happening. I can accept that. But let's just hope that they don't get that much more money.
We also have this week Intelligence: Anime Girls.
No. No.
Puzzle game in which you will build an image with beautiful anime girls so that the picture was like the original image. Move the puzzle tiles wisely to collect the correct order of the pieces of the image. The essence of the game as in the old game tag. What? Doesn't even make any sense. This appears to be very similar to the erotic puzzle game that was our first game today.
Yeah.
Yep. Puzzle games I know are a rising virus on Steam, so we salute you for at least following the trash trends.
God, I can't wait till there's microtransactions to get a bonus piece, or to tell you which piece is next, or some bullshit.
We also have 3-2-1 Survive for 99 cents. A simple game with hard difficulty. Difficulty is misspelled.
Classic.
In 3-2-1 Survive, N is misspelled. You control a heart who spawn in an area with many kinds of mob who attack you. More time you survive, more point you earn, but be careful. Moist, you stay in the arena. Moist to the difficulty and crests. 3-2-1 Survive.
Oh man, that's whack. No, I'm hearing you go in and out.
From the recent updates on 3-2-1 Survive, we have surprise. The game is real ease. Yeah, good times. We also have Trap Defense for 59 cents.
Okay.
Trap Defense is a TD-like puzzle game in which each level you need to place the traps at the correct position to prevent the balls from reaching the finish point. This 59-cent game is, of course, in early access. We also have... Yep.
Can they change the price later? I want to know, like if it's... Or, no, I guess it's when they do the actual release.
Yeah.
And then it costs more money.
We also have ROS. ROS is a logical game. I love that. It is a logical game. You must hold the ball before moving to the next level. What?
Okay.
Simple controls. 10 levels. Interesting gameplay. And then we have Turn-Based Champion for $4.24. Turn-Based Champion is an RPG party game where you and your friends compete in mini-games and take on monsters and bosses through turn-based battles to compete for the title of champion. Turn-Based Champion is a local multiplayer RPG, board game, party game, video game hybrid where you compete against monsters in turn-based battle and your friends in mini-games to become the champ, master mini-games, or defeat bosses to stack up your trophies and earn the crown.
Wait, hold on. I have some questions. Is this like... This is like Mario Party, but you have like JRPG turn-based fighting in between. So you're turn-based fighting monsters, but also you do mini games. I assume when everyone's turns over, and then you're collecting shit to like get trophies that will get you closer to the quote-unquote crown.
Yeah, this does. Yeah, it looks like exactly that.
That sounds needlessly complicated. It does sound like something I would have played the shit out of when I was like 17, but it sounds super needlessly complicated.
Yeah, like I'm looking at this thing and I feel like Steam is probably the worst possible platform for this. Because I feel like there are places where they could sell this thing and people would probably buy it enthusiastically. I feel like combination of turn-based RPG combat fighting plus Mario Party-ass mini-games seems like the kind of thing that could at least get a little momentum on the Switch.
I feel that, actually.
Yeah, so this is weird. This feels like one of those cases where, like, this may not even be a great game, this may not even be an okay game, but I feel like there's a place where these guys could have sold more copies. And then our final game today on Steam is Sisters in Hotel Episode 3.
Okay.
Continuation of the story of relations between Kaoru and his 5 beautiful sisters.
No.
After Kaoru confessed to some sisters in love, they go on a trip to the island. Will the other girls accept this calmly, or will they still not be able to give their brother just like that? Sisters in Hotel is a drama visual novel featuring a deep and heartbreaking storyline that touches on many interesting themes and topics. Brilliant art style, backgrounds and sprites, awesome background music. This appears to be an incest-themed visual novel.
That's... Okay, so maybe anime was a mistake. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm looking at a screenshot of an anime girl, and she is saying to the protagonist, "Brother, are you sure you want to do this?"
Yo, no, but that's an episode title. Fuck, I gotta write that down. Brother. Oh, God, it ties into, like, the wrestling thing, too. This is the best. Dude, I'm so excited. Oh, my God.
There's other fantastic screenshots, including, "I'm embarrassed to do this. Broter. It is misspelled in the screen cap." God damn. Fuck you, Steam. Like, we did not do a full story on them removing the game about the school shooting from Steam once Valve started taking some heat. But, like, this is literally a game about sister fucking, which came out today. And, but because it's not catching a bunch of media attention, this will continue to exist on this service. Like, God damn it. People of Earth, please buy your video games somewhere other than this. Oh, God, Rocky, I think that puts a fork in us.
Okay, man, that's cool. For anyone who's wondering, whoever sent us mail, we did not forget about you. We're just going to save it so that Tegan's cats get a fair chance to grade your mail. So we'll be back with it next week.
Word.
And if you don't believe me, you could hit us up on the Facebook, the Twitter, and Tumblr. You could tell us about it, or you could leave us reviews on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And even if you guys leave us a bad review, technically Brian still owes you a biscuit. So get on that. If you've been listening, at all, there's music at the beginning and the end of this podcast produced by our guy Big Sach. You can find him on SoundCloud.com/Big Sach NJ, or you can follow him on Twitter at Hillary_Swank. We still have a Discord. I haven't been on it that much, so if people have been there, I'm super sorry. I'm going to check in on it today. But otherwise, I'm back on my bullshit. I'm doing Monster Hunter Mondays again. And Brian is streaming Hearthstone and other Steam trash on Fridays. But otherwise, that's us. I'm Rocky Hardy.
And I'm Brian Cartwright. Peace.
It's official.
Later.
Rocky, there's no one else here. We're gonna die. I don't know what to do. Farewell, everyone.